There comes a moment in life when the noise becomes too much. Not because the world suddenly got louder, but because your soul finally became exhausted from carrying it. The pressure, the responsibilities, the bills waiting every month, the expectations people quietly place on your shoulders, the feeling that time is moving faster than you are. You wake up already tired. You answer messages you don't want to answer. You smile in conversations while your mind is somewhere else entirely. And slowly, without even realizing it, life stops feeling alive. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but quietly, like a candle losing its flame little by little. Most people never talk about this, because from the outside, everything may look fine. Maybe you still go to work. Maybe your family thinks you're doing okay. Maybe your friends still laugh with you. Maybe your social media still looks normal. But internally, something feels heavy. Something feels disconnected. You carry a fatigue that sleep cannot fix. And the strange thing is, you cannot even explain exactly why. That is the modern crisis. Not simply stress, not simply anxiety, but the emotional exhaustion of trying to control a life that refuses to be controlled. Every day, people fight invisible wars, trying to control outcomes, trying to avoid disappointment, trying to make relationships permanent, trying to secure a future nobody can predict, trying to stop aging, trying to prevent pain, trying to keep everything from falling apart. And eventually, the mind collapses under the weight of impossible expectations, because life was never meant to obey us. The Stoics understood this long before modern society existed, long before endless scrolling, long before financial anxiety became normal, long before people measured their worth through likes, status, and productivity. They understood one terrifying truth. The more attached you become to controlling life, the more fragile your peace becomes. And maybe that's why so many people today feel emotionally trapped. They are constantly fighting reality, fighting time, fighting uncertainty, fighting change. But reality always wins. Time keeps moving. People still leave. Plans still fail. Bodies still age. And no amount of worrying changes any of it. Yet the mind keeps trying. It replays conversations, imagines worst-case scenarios, creates problems that do not exist yet. And before long, a person becomes imprisoned by their own thoughts. This is why so many people cannot relax anymore. Even when nothing is wrong, even during peaceful moments, their minds continue searching for danger, searching for the next thing to fear, the next thing to fix, the next thing that could fall apart. And eventually, life starts feeling less like living and more like surviving, especially during middle age, because there comes a period in adulthood where reality becomes impossible to ignore. You begin to realize that life does not always reward effort. You can be loyal and still get betrayed. You can work hard and still struggle financially. You can love someone deeply and still lose them. You can sacrifice for years and still feel empty afterward. And this realization changes people. Some become bitter. Some become emotionally numb. Some spend the rest of their lives distracting themselves from the truth. But others begin waking up. They begin understanding that peace was never meant to come from controlling life. Peace comes from learning how to stand calmly inside uncertainty. That is where real strength begins. Not in domination, not in perfection, but in emotional steadiness. The ability to remain grounded while life changes around you. And that kind of strength becomes priceless as you grow older. Because with age comes loss. Friends disappear. Parents become weaker. Children grow distant. Dreams change. The body changes. The mirror changes. And one day you realize something deeply unsettling. Nobody escapes time. No amount of money, status, intelligence, or achievement can stop life from moving forward. And for many people, this realization creates fear. But for others, it creates freedom. Because once you truly accept impermanence, you stop trying to hold life too tightly. You stop demanding certainty. You stop expecting permanence from temporary things. And slowly, the anxiety begins loosening its grip. You begin breathing differently, thinking differently, living differently, not because life became easier, but because your relationship with life changed. This is the beginning of detachment, and detachment is often misunderstood. People think detachment means coldness, indifference, isolation, but true detachment is none of those things. True detachment means learning how to care deeply without allowing fear to control you. It means loving people without trying to possess them, working hard without attaching your identity to success, experiencing emotions without becoming enslaved by them. It means understanding that everything in life is temporary, including pain. And once you truly understand that, something shifts inside you. You stop panicking every time life changes. You stop collapsing every time things do not go according to plan. You stop taking every setback as proof that life is against you. Instead, you begin moving with life instead of against it. Most suffering comes from resistance. Resistance to reality. Resistance to change. Resistance to uncertainty. But reality does not negotiate. And the more you resist what is unavoidable, the more exhausted you become. Think about how many people spend years emotionally chained to things they cannot control. A failed relationship, an old mistake, a betrayal, financial regret, a different version of life they wish they had. And because they cannot let go, they stop living in the present entirely. Their body exists here, but their mind lives somewhere else. In the past, in regret, in imagined futures. And that is why peace feels impossible. Because peace only exists in the present moment. Not in yesterday, not in tomorrow. But most people never truly arrive in the present. Their minds are too busy trying to rewrite reality. The Stoics believed that the highest form of freedom was self-mastery. Not controlling the world. Controlling yourself. Your reactions. Your emotions. Your thoughts. Your perspective. Because when you master your inner world, the external world loses its power to destroy you. That does not mean life stops hurting. Pain is part of existence. Loss is part of existence. Disappointment is part of existence. Anyone promising a painless life is selling fantasy. But suffering becomes different when you stop resisting reality. A storm still exists, but internally, you remain steady. And that kind of calmness is rare today. Most people are emotionally reactive. One bad comment ruins their day. One inconvenience destroys their mood. One setback convinces them their life is falling apart. Because modern life trains people to become emotionally fragile. Everything is instant. Instant entertainment. Instant pleasure. Instant validation. And because people rarely sit with discomfort anymore, even small pain feels unbearable. But growth has never come from comfort. The strongest people are not those who avoided pain. They are the ones who learned how to survive it without losing themselves. Pain reveals character. It exposes emotional weakness. It strips away illusion. And eventually, it forces people to confront themselves honestly. Some of the wisest people become wise because life humbled them. Not because life was easy, but because suffering taught them what truly matters. A person who has endured loss sees life differently. A person who has survived heartbreak speaks differently. A person who has faced uncertainty understands peace differently. Because eventually, superficial things stop mattering. The ego becomes quieter. The need for constant validation fades. And a deeper understanding begins emerging. That life is fragile. Time is limited. And inner peace is more valuable than external approval. Most people spend years chasing validation, trying to be admired, trying to impress others, trying to appear successful, trying to prove their worth. But external validation is a dangerous addiction, because when your self-worth depends on other people's opinions, you become emotionally enslaved. Your mood depends on reactions. Your confidence depends on praise. Your identity depends on approval. And eventually, you lose yourself completely. This is why so many people feel empty even after achieving success. Because success without inner peace still feels hollow. You can have money and still feel anxious. You can have status and still feel insecure. You can be admired publicly and still feel alone privately. Because external achievement cannot heal internal emptiness. And perhaps that is one of the hardest truths adulthood teaches. Nobody is coming to complete you. Not money, not relationships, not recognition, not success. Real peace begins when you stop expecting the external world to save you. And this realization can feel painful at first, because many people spend decades believing happiness exists somewhere outside themselves. One more achievement, one more purchase, one more relationship, one more level of success. But the destination never arrives. The hunger simply changes shape, and eventually exhaustion sets in. That is when some people begin searching inward instead, not because they gave up on life, but because they finally understand that peace cannot be purchased externally. It must be built internally. This is where solitude becomes important. Modern society fears solitude. People distract themselves constantly because silence forces confrontation. Confrontation with unresolved emotions. Confrontation with regret. Confrontation with loneliness. Confrontation with truth. And for many people, silence feels uncomfortable because they have spent their entire lives avoiding themselves. But solitude is not punishment. It is revelation. When you spend time alone without distraction, something fascinating happens. Your mind begins slowing down. The noise becomes quieter. You begin hearing your own thoughts clearly. And eventually, you rediscover parts of yourself buried beneath years of stress and expectation. Solitude teaches emotional independence. It teaches you how to exist peacefully without constant stimulation, without constant validation, without needing noise to escape your own mind. And that is a form of power, because a person who is comfortable alone cannot easily be manipulated. They do not desperately cling to unhealthy relationships. They do not abandon themselves for approval. They do not fear silence. They understand that being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Some of the most peaceful moments in life happen in quiet solitude. Early mornings before the world wakes up. Late night drives with no destination. Rain against the window while the world slows down. Moments where nothing needs to be proven. Nothing needs to be achieved. Nothing needs to be performed. Just presence. Just stillness. And maybe that is what many people are truly searching for. Not endless excitement. Not constant entertainment. But relief. Relief from the noise. Relief from pressure. Relief from the endless psychological tension modern life creates. Because people are tired. Not only physically, but spiritually. Tired of pretending. Tired of chasing. Tired of carrying emotional burdens they never learned how to release. And yet, many continue running. Running from silence. Running from discomfort. Running from stillness. Because slowing down forces awareness. Awareness of how fragile life actually is. Awareness of how quickly time disappears. One day you are young, and suddenly your parents look older. Your body feels different. Your responsibilities multiply. And the years begin moving faster than your mind can process. This realization changes people. Some become desperate, trying to hold on to youth, trying to outrun aging, trying to distract themselves from mortality. But others become wiser. They begin valuing presence over performance, peace over status, meaning over appearance. They stop wasting energy on things that do not matter. Petty arguments, pointless drama, people determined to misunderstand them. They become more selective with energy, more protective of peace. And strangely enough, that is often when real life begins. Because maturity is not simply growing older. It is learning what deserves your emotional energy and what does not. It is understanding that attention is one of the most valuable things you possess. Where your attention goes, your life follows. And today, attention is under attack constantly. Notifications, algorithms, endless opinions, breaking news, comparison, distraction. Modern life profits from emotional overstimulation because distracted people are easier to control, easier to manipulate, easier to exhaust. That is why silence has become so powerful. Silence interrupts the noise. Silence creates awareness. Silence allows clarity to return. Most people react immediately. Immediate anger, immediate judgment, immediate emotional impulse. But silence creates space between emotion and reaction. And inside that space, wisdom appears. A calm person sees clearly. An emotionally reactive person sees distortion. That is why inner stillness becomes such an advantage in life, especially during chaos. Because the world will always remain unpredictable. Economies collapse. Relationships change. Unexpected pain arrives. And if your emotional stability depends entirely on external conditions, you will suffer constantly. But when stability comes from within, life becomes different. You stop needing perfect circumstances to feel grounded. You stop demanding certainty from an uncertain world. You stop expecting permanence from temporary things. And gradually, fear loses power over you. This does not mean you become emotionless. It means emotions no longer control your behavior. You still feel sadness. You still feel grief. You still feel disappointment. But you do not collapse inside those emotions. You allow them to move through you instead of imprisoning you. That is emotional maturity, not emotional suppression. Modern society often confuses emotional intensity with emotional depth. But true depth is quiet, calm, grounded. There is strength in restraint, strength in patience, strength in choosing peace instead of reacting impulsively. Some battles are not worth fighting. Some arguments are not worth winning. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. And wisdom is recognizing where your energy is best spent. As people grow older, many begin realizing how much life they wasted emotionally reacting to things that never truly mattered. Trying to control others, trying to prove themselves, trying to be understood by everyone, trying to maintain impossible standards. And one day they become exhausted, not because life defeated them, but because they spent years fighting unnecessary wars. The Stoics believed peace comes from accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it would be. That sounds simple, but it changes everything. Because suffering often begins with resistance. Resistance to aging, resistance to uncertainty, resistance to change, resistance to discomfort. But life keeps moving regardless. And eventually you either learn how to flow with reality, or you continue exhausting yourself trying to stop it. This is especially important when it comes to pain. Pain changes everyone. Nobody escapes life untouched. At some point you will lose something important, someone important. You will experience betrayal, disappointment, failure, and those moments reveal who you truly are. Because pain strips away illusion. It forces honesty. It exposes emotional dependency. And strangely enough, some of the most meaningful transformations happen during life's darkest seasons. Not because suffering is beautiful, but because suffering forces growth. It forces people to question what truly matters. It forces people to rebuild themselves differently. Many people become stronger after hardship because pain teaches lessons comfort never could. Comfort keeps people asleep. Pain wakes them up. A person who has lost everything understands gratitude differently. A person who has survived heartbreak understands love differently. A person who has faced uncertainty understands peace differently. And perhaps that is why some of the calmest people have survived the hardest lives. They learn that panic changes nothing. Fear changes nothing. Resistance changes nothing. But inner steadiness changes everything. Resilience is not pretending life does not hurt. Resilience is learning how to continue despite the hurt. That is what makes someone unbreakable. Not the absence of pain, but the ability to endure pain without losing themselves. And resilience grows quietly, through difficult mornings, lonely nights, moments nobody applauds, moments where you choose to keep going even when emotionally exhausted. Most strength is built privately, not publicly. People often admire confidence without understanding the suffering that created it. Real confidence is usually built through survival, through overcoming, through enduring seasons that could have destroyed you. And eventually, a shift happens. You stop fearing hardship as much, because you realize you have already survived difficult things before. You begin trusting yourself, not because life became predictable, but because you learned you can handle unpredictability. And that changes everything. Fear loses power when you stop doubting your ability to survive discomfort. Many people remain emotionally trapped because they spend their entire lives avoiding pain, avoiding discomfort, avoiding uncertainty, avoiding difficult conversations, avoiding silence. But avoidance strengthens fear. The more you run from discomfort, the more fragile you become. Growth requires discomfort. Always. Every meaningful transformation demands some form of emotional difficulty. And maybe that is why modern society feels spiritually weak, because comfort has become the highest priority. But comfort rarely creates depth. Comfort rarely creates wisdom. Comfort rarely creates resilience. Some lessons can only be learned through hardship. Some strength can only be built through suffering. And once you understand that, life changes. You stop asking why difficult things happen, and instead you begin asking what they are trying to teach you. That perspective creates power, not superficial motivation. Real power. The kind of power that allows someone to remain calm while life falls apart around them. Because eventually you understand something profound. Everything changes. Everything ends. Nothing lasts forever. At first, this truth feels depressing, but eventually it becomes liberating. Because once you accept impermanence, you stop clinging so tightly. You appreciate moments more deeply. You become more present. You stop wasting time on meaningless conflict. You stop postponing your life. So many people live as if they have unlimited time, always waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until life calms down, waiting until they feel ready. But life keeps moving. Years disappear quietly, and one day people realize they spent most of their existence mentally somewhere else, worrying, planning, regretting, escaping, but never truly living. That realization can become devastating or awakening. Because once you understand how temporary everything is, presence becomes sacred. The conversation with your parents, the laughter of your children, a quiet morning, sunlight through a window, a peaceful breath. These ordinary moments become extraordinary once you realize they cannot last forever. Impermanence creates beauty, because things matter precisely because they end. And perhaps that is one of the deepest forms of wisdom. Learning how to love life without trying to possess it. Learning how to appreciate moments without demanding permanence. Learning how to experience joy without fearing its eventual end. That is emotional freedom. And emotional freedom changes the way you move through the world. You become calmer, more patient, more grounded. Not because life stopped being difficult, but because your inner world stopped depending entirely on external conditions. This is why inner mastery matters so much. Most people spend years trying to control the external world. Money, people, outcomes, reputation. But the greatest victory is internal. Mastering your reactions, mastering your thoughts, mastering your emotional impulses. Because when you cannot control yourself, external success means very little. A wealthy mind filled with anxiety still suffers. A successful person addicted to validation still suffers. An admired person emotionally dependent on approval still suffers. Inner chaos follows people everywhere, no matter how successful they appear. That is why self-awareness matters. Most people move through life unconsciously, reacting automatically, repeating emotional patterns, carrying unresolved pain into every relationship and decision. But self-awareness interrupts unconscious behavior. It allows observation, and observation creates choice. You begin noticing your emotional triggers, your fears, your attachments, your patterns of self-destruction. And once you see them clearly, transformation becomes possible. Many people fear looking inward Because introspection reveals uncomfortable truths. Truths about loneliness, fear, insecurity, regret. But healing begins with honesty, not denial. And perhaps one of the bravest things a person can do is sit quietly with themselves long enough to understand who they truly are. Without distraction, without performance, without escape. Because eventually you realize something important. The world may never fully understand you. People may judge you incorrectly. Some relationships may fail. Some dreams may not happen. But none of those things determine your worth. Your worth is not created by external approval. It exists independently of it. And once you truly internalize that, something inside you becomes free. You stop trying to prove yourself constantly. You stop seeking validation from people incapable of giving it. You stop abandoning your peace to satisfy everyone else's expectations. And slowly, life becomes quieter internally. Not empty, peaceful. There is a huge difference. Many people fear peace because they confuse it with boredom. But peace is not boredom. Peace is emotional stability. Peace is clarity. Peace is the absence of unnecessary psychological conflict. And in today's world, peace has become revolutionary. Because society profits from emotional agitation. Fear keeps people consuming. Comparison keeps people insecure. Distraction keeps people disconnected from themselves. But a calm person becomes difficult to manipulate. A grounded person becomes difficult to control. That is why inner stillness is powerful. Not loud power, quiet power. The kind of power that does not need constant recognition. The kind of power that remains calm in chaos. The kind of power that allows someone to walk away from things that destroy their peace. As people mature emotionally, priorities change. Drama becomes exhausting. Attention becomes less important. Silence becomes more valuable. Depth becomes more attractive than performance. And eventually, people begin realizing that a peaceful life is far more meaningful than an impressive one. Because what is the point of success if internally you feel miserable? What is the point of achievement if you never experience peace? Many people spend decades building lives that look successful externally while collapsing internally. And often nobody notices, especially men. Many men suffer silently. Financial pressure, emotional isolation, fear of failure, responsibility, the feeling that they must always remain strong, always provide, always endure quietly. But emotional suppression eventually creates emptiness. People cannot disconnect from themselves forever without consequences. That is why so many adults feel emotionally numb. Not because they do not feel, but because they spent years disconnecting from their emotions in order to survive. And survival mode slowly kills aliveness. This is why slowing down matters. Why silence matters. Why emotional awareness matters. Because eventually a person must reconnect with themselves. Otherwise, life becomes mechanical. Wake up, work, distract, sleep, repeat, and one day decades disappear. That realization terrifies many people, but it can also awaken them, because it forces an important question. What actually matters? Not socially, personally, deeply. What kind of life creates peace? What kind of relationships create meaning? What kind of person do you become when nobody is watching? These questions matter more with age, because eventually external ambition alone stops satisfying the soul. People begin craving depth, presence, connection, purpose, stillness. And maybe that is what true maturity really is. Not becoming harder, becoming clearer. Clearer about priorities, clearer about values, clearer about what deserves your remaining time and energy. Because time becomes more precious the older you get. You realize life is not endless. And suddenly, peace becomes more important than proving yourself. Protecting your energy becomes more important than pleasing everyone. Authenticity becomes more important than image. And ironically, this is when many people finally begin feeling free. Not because life became easier, but because they stopped fighting unnecessary battles. They stopped trying to control everything, stopped chasing endless validation, stopped abandoning themselves for approval, stopped carrying emotional burdens that never belonged to them. And in that release, they rediscovered themselves. The modern world teaches people to constantly chase more success, more status, more stimulation, more productivity. But the soul rarely heals through accumulation. It heals through clarity, through stillness, through acceptance, through presence. And perhaps the deepest form of wisdom is realizing that peace was never hiding somewhere far away. It was buried beneath noise, beneath fear, beneath attachment, beneath the endless need to control life. Once those layers begin falling away, peace naturally emerges. Not permanent happiness, not endless pleasure, but something deeper, a quiet steadiness, the ability to remain centered while life changes. And that kind of inner stability becomes priceless, because life will continue changing. There will still be uncertainty, still be pain, still be loss, still be moments that test you. But when your foundation is internal, you stop collapsing every time the external world shifts. You begin trusting yourself, trusting your ability to adapt, trusting your ability to endure. And that trust creates calmness, not arrogance, not emotional numbness. Calmness, the kind that cannot be purchased, the kind built slowly through experience, through suffering, through reflection, through acceptance. At the end of life, most people will not care about impressing strangers. They will care about whether they truly lived, whether they experienced presence, whether they loved honestly, whether they found peace within themselves. And perhaps that is the real journey. Not becoming someone extraordinary in the eyes of the world, but becoming someone internally free. Free from constant fear, free from emotional dependence, free from endless psychological noise, free enough to experience life deeply without needing to control every part of it. Because the world will always remain unpredictable, but your inner world does not have to remain chaotic. You can learn stillness. You can learn emotional balance. You can learn acceptance. You can learn how to let go. And maybe that is the true meaning of strength. Not domination, not aggression, not perfection, but the ability to remain calm while life unfolds. The ability to continue loving despite impermanence. The ability to continue living despite uncertainty. The ability to continue moving forward despite pain. That is real resilience. That is real wisdom. And perhaps most importantly, that is real freedom. Because freedom is not having complete control over life. Nobody has that. Freedom is no longer being psychologically destroyed by the things you cannot control. Freedom is emotional independence. Freedom is inner peace. Freedom is learning how to sit quietly with yourself and feel whole without needing constant distraction. And once you experience that kind of peace, you stop chasing the world so desperately. You stop needing noise to escape yourself. You stop measuring your worth through external achievement alone. You begin appreciating life more simply, more honestly, more presently, and perhaps for the first time in years, you finally breathe deeply again. Not because every problem disappeared, but because internally, you are no longer at war with reality. The world is loud. It always will be. But your soul does not have to become lost inside the noise. You can choose stillness. You can choose awareness. You can choose presence. You can choose peace. And in a chaotic world, that choice changes everything.